All right. It's new Narcast, but this is our horror portion of it. So it's a dangerous meeting.
Horror, pop culture,
Yeah.
action,
We
all
had
this stuff that makes life worth living.
yeah, we had our first one that we did with our brother Lonnie was Jesus Christ, I'm old. I completely forgot about it. Horror remakes better than the original.
Yes. Yes,
So,
that's what it was.
hope everybody enjoyed that. I know it's not getting as many hits as the music stuff, but I kind of expect it to go up because I think before we had it completely separated.
Yeah.
Then we were just like, you know what?
And we'll do music stuff too. I mean, it's not that music is something that we won't
Yeah.
touch on. We'll definitely talk about musical subjects. It just so happens that this first couple of episodes we're sticking to the movies, but it's all subject to whatever we feel like doing that particular night, that particular week.
Yeah, and that'll fall under the Narcast moniker. This is just kind of like our little horror action vault that we do.
Speaking of horror movie whatnot, let's all admire the mug, the many faces of Michael Myers. See there, he's excited. Oh wait, no, that's the other side. He's excited, he's sleepy, confused, and there he's jealous.
What do you got in there? Juicy juice?
Oh no, you know me. I'm rocking the coffee day and night. And then here he's happy, Michael. He's sad, Michael, and angry and calm. You see, the joke is they're all the same expression.
Wow.
You see how that works? You see how that works?
Very nice.
Speaking of Michael Myers, I got to bring it up. Did you see the video? It's like 25 minutes that dropped on YouTube last week, and it's been all over Facebook. You know Tony Moran is the actor that played Michael Myers for the 2 seconds that the mask was pulled off at the end of part 1. And the story goes, John Carpenter did not want Nick Castle to be the face under the mask because Nick Castle looked too ethnic. He wanted someone who looked all-American, angelic, blonde hair, blue-eyed, all-American angel boy. So Tony Moran was brought in, was there one day, literally played Michael Myers for 2 seconds, and not a pivotal 2 seconds. I mean, it's really the one and only time of note that he's been unmasked in the whole damn series, but literally played the guy for 2 seconds. That's his entire claim to fame. He's done nothing else of note other than I think he was in a Chips episode in the late 70s. That's it. His entire career since then has been going to conventions and signing autographs as, Michael Myers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a video dropped of him, I think last week. It might have been longer, but it's just started to make the rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally 25 minutes of him trashing Halloween. Now, this isn't just him like in the comfort of his own home saying these things. This is him at a convention, at conventions, in a room of people who paid to be there, who paid to be in that room, who paid for his autograph. Him in those settings, calling those people losers and assholes, trashing Halloween as a piece of shit, going so far as to make claims that Jamie Lee Curtis was sleeping with everyone on the set of Halloween. And the big claim he made was that he had no respect for John Carpenter at all, that John Carpenter was a piece of shit because Deborah Hill was walking around on set with sunglasses on because John Carpenter beat her so bad that her eyes were blackened. I mean, just making the most outlandish claims possible. I mean, it's
just like a super cut of this guy's.
Oh yeah,
swaggery.
it's just different interviews that he's done either on a horror podcast or in a room full of people who paid to be there, or at an interview he gave at a convention with a journalist of some sort. I mean, you and anybody who watches this who has any interest in this kind of thing, please carve out 25 minutes of your life and watch, honestly, one of the most horrible human beings, I think, on the planet. It's one of the saddest things I've ever seen, not to mention one of the most infuriating. But I mean,
so you want him dead now? Is that?
Well, I just listen. If my entire claim to fame was playing this one part for 2 seconds,
mm-hmm.
I would think, and then I based my entire life's work on taking money from people to sign my name on pictures of that one thing, I would think that I would be a little smarter and not call a room full of those people assholes, stupid, losers.
I don't know, man. Obviously, the guy's got a burr up his ass about something. I haven't seen the video. I've seen similar videos with people here and there, just not like a super cut of the same person doing it, but it's people just trashing either the fans or they're just miserable at these conventions. And it's like, then just don't go.
I've met people. I've been to, well, I don't know if a lot is the right word, but I've been to a number of these conventions. And I honestly can't think of one person that I met or got an autograph from that was an asshole. I mean, there were some that, yeah, you could kind of tell they really wish they were somewhere else, but this is how they pay the bills now. But at least they were polite. They were nice.
I met
they didn't take it out on the fans for what they're doing.
You that were Aaron Gray from Buck Rogers and Silver Spoons.
Not very nice.
She was just, it wasn't that she wasn't nice. It was just that she was talking about some like animal shelter, battered women's shelter the whole time. And I was just kind of like, all right, great. Whatever, that's not what I'm here for.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met Ken Foray from Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
And he was not very, just some of these people just, I don't really understand it. You walk up to him and you're like, hey, what's going on? And he instantly was just like, yeah, pictures, $20 with an autograph, it's 30. Like, no, it wasn't like, hey, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Anything like
obviously that. To him it's a job. He's not there to socialize.
Yeah, it's like, whatever, man. I mean, if I was in that position and somebody was like, hey, you were in a movie 40 years ago, but there's still people that like are obsessed with you and your character. Really?
Yeah.
Hit me up, man. I'd be there talking to everybody. And now I'm not in positions where I'm constantly at those things, but I mean, come on, man. You're there. You're being paid to be there. Number one. Number two, this should be number one, is that people want to talk to you. That's what, I went to Cinema Wasteland several years ago, with our brother Lonnie, and we met, oh my God, Lloyd Kaufman.
Mm-hmm.
Boyd Kaufman wasn't charging anybody
Really?
for anything.
He
And
seems like such a cool guy, though.
gotta think that it was pissing everybody else off. But we walked past him. He was standing out front in the front of his desk, the table,
Mhm.
and he was like, we were going to walk by, and he just like, hey, what's going on, guys? You guys having fun? And we're just like, yeah, cool. You know, he was like a
Mhm.
really nice guy. And
Well,
again,
he's a guy. I mean, I think anytime in interviews, if you get past the crazy, but I think he's a guy that just really understands that everything he has in life, all the success, is from the fans.
especially
It's
trauma, the trauma
exactly.
aren't
I
make.
mean,
No, man, I
so
get it.
so he's got, my biggest complaint. I went to, this was years ago, and was a convention in Cleveland. I can't even remember the name of it, but and their big thing was Linda Blair was there, and they were and the so it was Linda Blair was their hook, and their other big hook was it was a Michael Myers reunion. So they had Dick Warlock there, who played Michael in Halloween 2, George Wilbur there, who played him in 4 and 6, Don Shanks, who played him in 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had 3, and at the time, I think H2O had just come out. So at the time, really, those were other than Nick Castle, who he wasn't doing conventions at that time, that was what they were going to get. I had met Dick Warlock before, nicest guy in the world, so damn nice that he forgets to charge people. His wife has to get you. Oh, I'm sorry, that's like $10. I mean, if it were up to Dick Warlock, everybody would go through. He wouldn't make a dime.
Mm-hmm.
But just the sweetest guy. Don Shanks, a really nice guy, but almost choked me to death.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, hey, can I get your picture? Oh yeah, man, you get your picture with me. And then he proceeded to put me in this chokehold that, I mean, Natalie really thought he was going to kill me. And she's like, oh my God. And I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. Like, no, that's cool, dude. George Wilbur, though, he was one of those guys that you could tell, I don't really want to talk. Pay and I'll sign. And if you want a picture, it was one of those things where if Dick Warlock has his arm around you and Don Shanks is trying to kill you, and George Wilbur, man, he just stood up on one side of the table, you're on the other. He didn't smile. It was just, but like, he wasn't mean. Mm-hmm. He wasn't rude. It was just very, I'm here. I don't know why, but I understand you like me or like what I do, so I'm going to be nice about it.
Yeah, I like going to those conventions, especially Cinema Wasteland in Cleveland. I don't like going every year because it tends to get a little monotonous, like the same thing over and over again. But it's going to them. Sometimes meeting people that you're fans of or that are your heroes. Sometimes it's best to not meet them at all. I mean, I got the classic story with Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, that they were doing a signing at a Best Buy in Canton the night before Ozfest 98, and that Ozfest was at the Rubber Bowl in Akron. And so we all went down, and there were like 2,000 people there, literally like lined up.
Mm-hmm.
And we got there kind of early. There were probably like 100 or so people ahead of us, and there was like 3 or 4 of us, and we went up through the line, and everybody at the table was really nice, really polite, even Dave Mustaine. And they were just like, hey, what's going on, and I couldn't believe it. I was starstruck because I was such a Megadeth fan, but I was like, hey, thanks guys, So the one guy that we were with, I can't remember, I don't know if he said let's just wait for him, or whatever, we went off for the side, and then we literally waited for everybody to go through and get their autographs, and then Dave came over and did some radio spot for that local 1069 in Canton. And he came out, and the kid that I was with was like, "Hey Dave, can we get a quick picture?" And Dave was just like, I'm calling him Dave, like, we
Like you guys go way back.
yeah, we go way back. Fucking barbecues out back all the time. But no, Mustaine comes out, and he said, "Hey, can we get a quick picture?" And he was like, he rolled his eyes, he huffed and puffed, and he said, "I'm gonna fucking hurry this shit up, man. I got stuff to do." And the kid I was with was just like, "Oh, okay, okay." Took my CD, shirt, and just threw it at him. Just fucking chucked it at him. And I was like,
I don't blame you. Well, remember when we waited outside Kent stage for Henry Rollins after the spoken word? Remember how nice he was?
yeah.
He went down that whole line, took every picture, signed every autograph people asked for. He signed our ticket stubs, got a picture with us. He could not have been more nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
so cool.
And you know what? I hear a lot. I hear the same stories about. I have a buddy that met Megadeth at a signing, and he went in with, I don't know if it was Peace Cells or Rust in Peace, but no, it had to be a newer. I think it was Euthanasia. And he went up with a CD, and he asked the band, "Can you each sign in the corner?" So it's kind of like that,
Yeah.
each signature. So he said the first three guys were the rest of the band, and they were totally polite. "Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for buying the, super, like, just personable and affable." And they were just like, and then he got to Dave, and he was like trying to say, "Hey, can you sign like everybody else did?" And Dave just like snatched the thing and just went like this and gave it back to him. So three of them are perfectly in the corner, and then one of them is like sloppily just. And there's my buddy Rob, said he just stood there, and the other three guys, because Rob's a big guy, he's a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there, and he was just like looking at him, like giving him the stink eye. And the other three guys were just like they knew that he, and they were just, he said they all looked at him and they, "Hey, thanks, man. Thanks a lot for coming out. We appreciate it." So who knows? Sometimes you meet those people, and it's kind of a crapshoot of they're human beings too, but some people I think are just.
Yeah. Well, there's that old saying, you never want to meet your heroes,
Mm-hmm.
because they, for many times they're just going to let you down.
I'm talking to mine right now, baby.
Oh, me too, baby. Me too. But I bet I let you down all the time, don't I? See how us heroes are.
Yeah.
Real quick though, one more quick convention story. That same convention the Michael Myers guys were at, I said Linda Blair was there. Could not have been sweeter. But two people in front of me, the guy, I don't know what he was thinking. All of us have like Exorcist memorabilia, or she's written, I believe she's done some animal cruelty things, and so they're bringing that stuff. And this guy, two people in front of me, he brought a bag of the Hustler, the skin mask that she took some fucking balls on this guy. You just go, no, she had him thrown out.
Oh, see, that's what I'm talking about, dude. It's like
on one hand, I see how it was kind of rude for this guy, but on the other hand, it's like you did pose for those pictures, you know.
Just said, I appreciate, I appreciate.
No, she didn't have him thrown out immediately. It's not like he pulled him out of the bag, threw him in front of her, and she said he's out. No, she said, and her, kind of her team, the two or three people that were there representing her, all kind of told this guy politely at first, no, I'm not, I don't sign those. Do you have something else? And this guy was adamant. No, you're going to sign these. I've had these for years. I've been waiting for this.
He opens it up. They're all stuck. Hard snow.
But so, I mean, in her defense, she was polite at first, but this guy was pretty adamant and he wasn't leaving. So, I mean, at some point, what are you going to do?
I don't know.
Now, me, on the other hand, if anybody ever comes across my naked photos, I'll gladly sign them. No problem at all.
Dude, I would sign it with my dick. I don't even care. If you're there to see me, let's do it.
Oh, I post for him, so I guess I'll sign them.
Yeah, I'd be like, and at that point, I would just kind of laugh. I'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this.
Yeah.
Whatever. Some people I think are just.
I guess it really has to do with, I guess, your reason for doing it. I mean, if you were in a really bad place in your life and making bad decisions and really needed money or something, and who wants to be reminded of that? So I can understand from that. But I mean, if you just did it because you're cool with it, and, hey, that's badass, I'll do that. What do I care? Then it's like, yeah, okay, I'll sign that. I did it. Yeah, that's awesome.
He should have just started like furiously just beating off right there. Getting kicked out.
I was like wide-eyed, man. I'm like, I can't. I can't believe this guy brought. I can't believe he did this. Oh my God.
We have before we get into the meat and potatoes of the episode, have you watched anything lately?
I started watching a new Amazon show that's had a lot of buzz called Them. And I mean, when I say I started watching it, I mean I've literally got one episode down, and that first episode was great. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to watching the rest of it. We're gonna watch Mortal Kombat tonight on HBO Max. You know me, I don't play video games. I mean, not like I just don't play now. I've never my entire life been a video game guy. But my kids they're really looking forward to it. And it looks like it's pretty violent. So
it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be pretty brutal. I'll check it out.
So that's what so even though the kids are probably gonna have to pause it every 5 minutes and explain to me what the hell's going on.
Nothing to really explain.
It's like they fight, right? And they don't stop fighting till somebody's dead.
Yeah.
All right, I got it. I'm good. Let it roll. I got it.
No, that's cool.
What about you? Anything new and exciting you've been watching or listening to? Or
listening wise, I'm still kind of heavily into the new the Quill Earthrise, which is amazing. I'm so stoked for the new Monster Magnet covers.
Oh God, me too, man.
I'm just like obsessed.
I'm so glad you sent me that link, by the way, because I got that autographed CD coming, and I would have got the LP if the LP sleeve itself was autographed. But what they're doing is they're sending you the LP, and then they're sending along a CD booklet signed. So I'm like, well, shit. If that's the case, I'll save $20, get the autographed CD, and then just get the album later on.
Yeah, I forgot, man. I got to get on there tonight, see if I can snag the CD. I need the CD. I'll probably buy 2 copies of, probably buy it off Amazon, normal, like regular,
Mhm.
and then I'll buy the, if I can still get the autographed copy, but I already ordered from Napalm Records the colored vinyl, and it comes
Mhm.
with a slip mat,
Oh, really?
limited edition slip mat.
Oh, okay.
It was like, with shipping, it was like $50.
Mhm.
Um,
Well,
but
I bought I kind of subscribe to the Mike Ness school. That quote he made that, who the fuck wants to buy records at Walmart? I don't. And I've always been like, yeah, I'm with you there, Mike. And I hate Walmart anyway, but sometimes it's a necessary evil. I
mhm.
know you agree. But I was there like a week and a half ago, and I went against Mike Ness wisdom, which I'm loath to do. But they had a Walmart exclusive, Black Sabbath, We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll, 2 LP set, and the LP is this gorgeous green vinyl, and it's a Walmart exclusive. And I said, God damn it, I hate buying shit like this here, but the green vinyl, it's a Walmart exclusive. I gotta get it, so I did.
How much was it?
It's 35.
That's not bad.
Which for a double LP colored vinyl,
Yeah.
that ain't bad. Vinyl's expensive. You know that. You buy it like I do.
But it's like, other than that, movie wise, you're gonna hear me be the old guy and say the same thing every single episode. And there's nothing out there. I am watching with my 10-year-old boy,
Debbie Does Dallas.
yes, that
Is he enjoying it?
Debbie Does Dallas with a Deep Throat Chaser.
Is he enjoying it?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Big fan.
yeah. I mean, he had to have the talk anyway, so I figured why not let Debbie do
Yeah,
it.
she's going to do a better job than you're going to do. Let's be honest. That's the route I went.
No, he wanted to watch Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Oh God, how do you like it?
We haven't finished it yet. We're just kind of like in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no problems with it whatsoever. It's just like I like the fact that the cast is like kind of, you don't know who they are.
Right.
A bunch of no names.
It's just a total nostalgia trip, even though it's a newer movie. But it's just like a slice of my childhood come to life on screen. Because I grew up with those books, man.
Some of the effects are great.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, it's pretty cool. But I obviously revisited. I told you this, Cold in July.
Yeah.
Which is
such a good movie.
Anybody hasn't seen that, my God.
And I commented on the post that the book is in about my 5-foot stack of books that I have to get to reading. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to reading it, but it's kind of in the middle of the stack. So
that dude's got a bunch, that Joe R. Lansdale. He's got a ton of books.
Oh yeah, he's
a
great writer.
Yeah.
I've got a couple compilation books of his short stories. They're all fantastic.
I mean, it's the cast is like absolutely perfect. Was it Michael C. Hall?
Don Johnson,
Sam Shepard. Recently passed. It's so good. It throws you for a loop. It's like,
and it's nasty, man, when you find out what they're doing.
Yeah. I remember
the
first time I saw it, and they found, people who haven't seen it, I'm not going to give it away, but
no,
you're just like, you just know where it's going.
Yeah.
Something happens, and then you see something when they find a tape, what was written on it, and just the way everything else was going, I was just instantly, I was like, oh no.
And I don't know about you, but there's certain things that kind of get me more than others. And that subject matter is one of them. That gets me, man. It's for me, it's hard to watch.
Yeah. It's take a shower afterwards. It's like,
yeah. So
I'm glad they didn't go too much as soon as that happens, it's just kind of like a quick 1-2 punch, and
Yeah.
the movie just it really harkens back to the 70s type flicks where there's nothing, there's no CGI. It's not, and it's gonna be blasphemy for you, but it ain't like these absolute AIDS infested, shit filled Fast and the Furious movies.
All right. Well, hey, listen, this has been a great episode. Maybe I'll see you next time. Take care.
Oh my, absolute.
No, I'll stay, but I'm staying under protest.
Oh my God, it's trash.
Don't mess
like
with my Fast and Furious films, man. Don't do it.
God.
We all have our guilty pleasures. We all have our things that for whatever reason we enjoy the hell out of. And for me, one of them is the Fast and Furious films. Love them.
Furious films, but you don't like Point Break or Big Trouble in Little China.
No.
And you just came around on Roadhouse.
Yeah, recently came around on Roadhouse.
Remind me again, why are we friends?
Because I'm dead sexy. I'm pretty damn awesome, as are you. And that kind of awesome is just it on both sides. It's like a magnet.
So it's that movie though is just straight 70s, man. It's just so good. It's all acting, it's all story. It's like the plot, everything is just awesome about it. The music's great. It takes place in the 80s. If you don't, and that's the thing, they don't make a big deal out of it.
No.
But you can
tell just the clothes they wear, music that they're listening to, things, and that's it.
It's not like
it's just the setting, and that's what it is. And
we love Stranger Things. I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love
Looking forward to season 4.
Oh yeah. But when we were watching the last season, when they went to they opened the mall, and the kids, were like, is it really like that? No, it wasn't like that in the 80s. That looked like somebody who never lived through the 80s that made a movie about that made that episode about the 80s. And all these people were in there, and they were all dressed like Cyndi Lauper. Yeah, it was just it was never like that. And we
not in some little bumfuck town in Indiana.
Yeah, and we showed them pictures. You could find 80s pictures of malls online taken in the 80s.
Yeah.
Of like malls in LA and stuff. They don't even look like that.
No.
It doesn't.
No, they look malls. If you want to see what people look like in malls in the 80s in that area, watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Parts of that movie take place in a mall, and that's how they dressed, that's how they acted, that's how they looked.
Yeah, it was the same thing with that new Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, first of all, in total honesty, I haven't seen the first Wonder Woman yet. I want to. I just haven't got around to it.
I pretty much like all of the DC stuff a lot. For some reason, I hate all the Marvel crap. I like the first Wonder Woman. I have, not a big comic fan of it, but I didn't mind it at all. Then my wife wanted to see it, and Katie was really pumped, and it was on HBO Max, and it's like, let's watch it. Dude, like 10-15 minutes into it, she was just like, how much does this have left? One of the worst movies, but it was the same thing. They went to the mall, and it was like that Stranger Things, where it was like the most ridiculous, cartoonish. I was like, apparently the idiot that directed this was probably born in like 1990 and didn't. I don't know for sure. I don't know, but I'm just saying it's just so like it was such a stereotype of what the 80s looked like, and I'm like, trust me, it wasn't like that.
you like Gail Gadot though, right? Right? Yeah, Fast and Furious alumni there, pal.
Oh, I don't.
She's part of the family.
I don't care.
She's part of the family. Have you watched the Fast and Furious film?
unfortunately, yeah. I stopped at like part 74.
That's impossible since we're not even near that. I hope we get there someday. That would be
There's a new one coming out, isn't there?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out last year, but because COVID fucked up everything. It's coming out in
Finally,
June.
something good that came out of COVID.
It's coming out in June, and I, for one, could not be more ecstatic. There's only one film. No, there's two films coming out this year that I'm more excited
Way too Fast and Furious
for. No, there's two films coming out this year that were supposed to come out last year that I'm more excited for than the new Fast and Furious.
Oh, Halloween.
I'm sure that's one. See how well you know me.
Mm-hmm.
You come up with the second one.
The second, Fast and Furious.
No, there's two films coming out that I'm more excited for than the new Fast and Furious. Halloween Kills is one of them. See if you can guess the second.
Bond.
There's my boy. You know me so well.
Yeah.
You know me so well. It's bittersweet, though, because it's my favorite Bond's last Bond. Yeah. So it's going to be very sad.
Who knows? But that good segue into our talking about the 8 million Fast and Furious sequels.
It's, you know what it is, man? Listen, I don't like them because they're great films, obviously, but they're just for me, it's total popcorn escapism. I can sit down, my popcorn, my drink, I can watch 2 hours of Fast and Furious, not worry about any other bullshit going on in the world. I don't have to think very hard. It's just I can shut everything off and just enjoy the car chases and the stunts. It's fun popcorn movie for me.
For me, I'll do that, but I'll do it with Commando or Roadhouse.
See, it's the same thing.
I watched a couple of those Fast and Furious, not to go off on a tangent here, but dude, it was like, I don't even see this much ridiculous shit in a video game.
I know.
Train going, and they're like, they hit like a little rock, and then the car catapults, and the rock jumps off, and he's like flying through the. Dude, it was so.
It's just like it's pure popcorn escapism.
Oh, it's so awful. I cannot do it. Anyway.
So you will not be going to the 9th Fast and Furious film with me?
No. I'll be outside with probably the TNT detonator.
And then you'll see me do The Rock, Vin Diesel out of the burning building into a moving car.
You know what it reminds me of? Oh my God, what is that? God, that little 80s ridiculous David Hasselhoff was part of.
Oh.
Do you remember that? It was like that 80s thing. He did
watch.
No, he did. It was like recent. Some guy put out this like little movie trailer, or he put out like an actual movie. Oh my God, it's driving me nuts. But David Hasselhoff did the song.
I don't know, man. I'm drawing a blank.
Survivor. And it was like ridiculous. It had like Vikings in it, and like
you can't go wrong with Vikings.
This guy in these like punks pull up, and the guy has a skateboard, and he kicks it or whatever, and it throws the cop car up in the air and flips, and the dude gets out of the cop car and jumps off, and he's like shooting at him in the air. That is meant to be like a parody, I can't remember. It's driving me completely nuts.
Well, do you like the Machete films?
Yeah, but it's supposed to be like that.
Well,
it's
so is the Fast and Furious.
That's like Planet Terror and Machete, and like all of those have that campiness to them. Fast and Furious, it's just like it's Axe body spray and Monster Energy on steroids, and I just can't.
Well,
But
agree to disagree. I still love you.
but getting into the sequels, we decided kind of do a quick one here. Sequels
that are better than the originals.
Yes, not
If
remakes.
horror films.
So we did horror remakes better than the original.
Yes.
We figured, well, let's do some sequels here that we think are better than the original. And I think when I was looking online, just curious to see what other people would put.
I did the same thing.
And some people are only putting like part twos of things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you do realize that some of these franchises have like 8 sequels to them or something,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, if that's legitimate.
Well, I stuck to most of mine are part twos. But I see your point.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those lists I saw. Well, I'm just going to throw this out there. Maybe this is on your list. It's not on mine, but I'm using this as an example. A lot of the lists that I saw, 90% of them, when these are not just people like you and I, these are like, journalists or movie critic people. They put Evil Dead 2 as better than Evil Dead. And to me, that's, are you out of your freaking mind? I don't get it.
It's not on my list because I like Evil Dead better than Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
But Evil Dead 2 fits more with Army of Darkness to me than it does with Evil Dead.
I agree. Well, first of all, Evil Dead 2 is essentially just a remake of Evil Dead, but with comedy. I think slapstick and comedy.
I can't remember if it was on. I can't remember if I had it on my list, honestly. But for the remakes, better than the original. No, because I don't think it's better than the original. No, because I like the original better.
To me, the Evil Dead is supposed to be just a balls to the wall horror film, and where Evil Dead 2 may have that balls to the wall factor. For me, it's all kind of done in a slapstick, hokey manner. I'm not putting the film down. I like it, but I mean, I saw the Evil Dead when I was a kid, and I didn't want to go to bed. I was terrified. I wasn't terrified of Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, it's meaner, it's nastier. But yeah, that's not on my list. But I can go ahead and start.
Yeah, go ahead, my man.
I'll start with the probably gonna piss a lot.
Are you ruffling feathers right out of the gate?
Oh, I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here.
Oh dear Lord. Don't go where I think you're going.
It's horror, but it's also sci-fi.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blow you away. Maybe, I don't know. The sequel that I think is better than the original, as amazing as the original is, the cast is unstoppable, but there was something about the sequel to me that was just nastier and dirtier, and that's Predator 2.
You know what? I don't think that's too off the wall is what you might assume, at least not with me. Now, maybe the vast majority of people who are going to watch this are going to say, what the hell? But I can see where you're coming from. Dude, although I don't necessarily agree. I don't think Predator is such a far greater film than Predator 2. Let's put it that way. I think they're both pretty neck and neck.
There's something about Predator 2 that just the cast in the first one, dude. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. One-liners, so many one-liners in that.
One of the greatest lines in film history, when Jesse Ventura offered some chewing tobacco to his fellow teammates there, and none of them wanted it. You're all a bunch of slack-jawed faggots.
Yeah,
this stuff will make you a sexual tyrannosaurus.
Yeah,
just like me.
Yeah. He gets shot or whatever. He's like, "Hey, you're bleeding."
Ain't got time to bleed.
And the guy's like, okay.
Oh God.
It's I mean, it's great.
I think for me, I think the cool thing about Predator 2 is, and what maybe made it a little more, uh, you can relate to it maybe a little better, is that it takes place in a city, you
Yeah,
know, as,
it's
as opposed to a jungle where I'll never be ever, you know.
but
So
it's a city, but in the future,
right,
at
not
that,
anymore.
yeah, not anymore. But it's like overcrowded, and everything about it, dude, is. I think Danny Glover is great in it.
Danny
Love,
Glover's great in everything.
yeah, love Bill
That
Paxton.
man's a rest in peace.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was some really interesting story about Bill Paxton. I think he was roommates, or he grew up, or he worked with the dude, Mike Muir from Suicidal Tendencies or something.
Oh, really?
They were like friends back in the day. Like, because when Bill Paxton died, Mike Muir posted this big thing of Bill Paxton wearing a suicidal sweatshirt with the sleeves cut off, like back in the 80s, saying that they used to work with each other, or roommates, or something. I'll have to look it up. But
Yeah, that's really cool.
saying that when something about, even when he would see like he saw Bill Paxton a couple times through the years after that, like after he got kind of big,
Mhm.
still like the same dude, super nice and down to earth. And
Well, everything I ever read about Bill Paxton was just, he was just, just the sweetest guy.
well,
You know,
dude rules, man. I mean,
he's been in everything, and
I
everything he's been in is badass. He's been badass in everything.
yeah.
So
And but I don't know, man. The movie to me is just, it's gritty, it's nasty. Special effects are great. I mean, it starts in the beginning with the cops and the drug dealers, and it just starts off, and it's like, the fuck is like every other word, and it's like shooting and death. And then on top, and that's not even the Predator yet. And then the Predator comes in, and then it's like, it was just a really nasty flick. And I always enjoy it more than watching the first one. Whereas the first one I would give like an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10. This one I would give like a 9.5. Just
I can see that. I
it's
can see that.
I always love it. So many
Yeah.
different characters. The first one has good characters, but really it's just kind of like the same group of guys.
Yeah.
This one, there's so many. Gary Busey's character, I love it when it's so ridiculous when he's talking about Danny Glover, they're talking whatever. It's like the little bit between them, and he's like, lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my. It's so ridiculous, like over the top. But it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You see like different weaponry a little bit, and plus at the end when he goes into the actual spaceship.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
The little nod to Alien in there. He's
Mhm.
got the xenomorph skull amongst all their other trophies. Definitely
If you're
kind
gonna
of planted the seed for Alien versus Predator.
and if you're gonna do a Predator flick, to me, I like the first two,
Hmm.
obviously with the nod to the second, and then I don't like any of them until the newest one that came out with Shane Black did.
Yeah, that caught a lot of shit, but I actually enjoyed it.
You know why I enjoyed it? Because it just reminded me of like an 80s flick.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's it. It was just like fun, but it was still violent, and it
Mhm.
it had that. I liked it. I think what people wanted was something like the first two, but
And the cast was great,
Mhm.
and the one-liners were funny. It was everything it was supposed to be. They weren't trying to reinvent the wheel. They were trying to make, as I said before, about the Fast and Furious movies, not comparing the two, but it was just a fun popcorn flick.
Mhm.
It gave you everything you wanted. You want blood? Here's some blood. You want fighting? Here's some fighting. You want one-liners? We're going to give you those too. You know, so yeah, I liked it a lot.
Cool.
Well, the first flick I'm going to throw out there, and there's actually more than two of these films. It's a bit of a franchise, and any one that came after the first one, I could have put on this list, but I went with the second one. The first one, I hated. I thought it was complete garbage, to the point where I didn't even want to see the second one, but it was on and it had an actor in it that I'm a big fan of. So I said, okay, I'll watch it because of him. And watched it, loved it, and I've liked everyone after. And that is The Purge 2.
With Frank Rizzo.
Frank Grillo.
Frank Rizzo.
Yeah.
I think Frank Rizzo's the jerky voice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Frank Rizzo. Holy crap. I can't believe useless info in here.
Listen, I am a mountain of useless information. I feel you. Trust me. But I mean, I think The Purge is an interesting premise. And but for some reason, I hated the first one. I thought it was complete garbage. But the second one I loved, and I loved Election Day, and even the last one, the first Purge, I enjoyed. I thought it was good.
First Purge took place in the house, right?
That's the one with Ethan Hawke.
Yeah. I remember you and I saw part 2 in the theater.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I wanted to see it was because of Frank Grillo, not
That's
Rizzo.
the only reason I wanted to see it was Frank Grillo.
Yeah, because Grillo's awesome, man. Like,
yeah.
He has that gritty kind of,
yeah,
machismo, like, just, I love the guy. But no,
he's a good actor. He's a tough guy. I like him.
No, I agree. I haven't seen any of the other ones.
You should really see Election Day.
That's what
because Frank Grillo's in that one too, and he's amazing.
I'll have to check it out.
I know it's really good.
The second one was great. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm not a big fan of the franchise. I haven't seen the other ones yet, but the first one was like, okay, whatever. But then the second one, I agree. I thought it was better, definitely better than the first.
A lot better, because the first one I think is garbage. I'll never watch the first one again, but I'll watch 2. I'll watch Election Day, even though the last one, I think it's the first Purge. It's kind of like a prequel. I'll watch that because it was good. I went to the theater. I've been to the theaters to see all of them since the first one, and I've liked them all, especially 2 and the third one, Election Day. Fantastic.
Oh, very good. Good.
Hit me. You're on a roll, man.
Here's another one. So this is the first one I saw of the franchise. And it's also, to me, obviously, I think it's better than part 1. I'm a fan of everything, I would say, up to the film after this one, and then I just don't give a shit anymore. I've seen them all, but and what really got me was a kid in the 80s watching MTV at my grandparents' house late at night, and the video comes on, for the song that was in the film, and it just sucked me in. I mean, I was a kid. I think this came out in 86, if I remember. So I was 7 years old, and I was just like, dude, I don't know what this is, but this is amazing. And then I saw it several years later, and that's Friday the 13th 6, and seeing Alice Cooper video. It was that He's Back, the man behind the mask, or whatever.
He's back, the man behind the mask. Yeah.
But it's, Friday the 13th 1 through 3, I kind of group into like one that's like the early era, and I enjoy them. I really do. To me, they're classics. They're great. Um, I had 4, 5, and 6 are that's the pinnacle for me. 4, 5, and 6 are absolutely just awesome. I don't give a shit that he's not in 5, that it's, you know, the dad, the paramedic.
Yeah, yeah. 5 is such a fucking
Spoiler alert, but if you haven't
dirty.
seen it, oh yeah.
If you haven't seen it, then why the hell are you watching this podcast? I mean,
Like,
you know,
plus 5
but,
has, 5 does have the best titties out of all of them.
oh
I mean,
God, yeah, yeah. That girl in the fucking woods, man.
oh yeah.
Whose last name is actually Voorhees.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Part 6, though, I remember one of the. It's weird when you see a movie and everything kind of comes together. You know, I was a kid. I mean, my dad listened to a lot of awesome stuff, Zeppelin, Sabbath, all that stuff. So I was kind of already being groomed for that, for the heavier stuff. So Alice Cooper instantly just sucked me in. Um, Horror, you know, my mom got me into horror when I was a kid. She loved horror flicks. So I really wanted to see it. And I remember a couple years later, I ended up seeing Return of the Living Dead first before I saw this. But then Tom Matthews is in Return of the Living Dead, but Tom Matthews is also in part 6.
Yeah.
Is oh, Jesus Christ, Tommy. I always get them mixed up.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Tommy Jarvis.
Who's the Halloween Tommy?
The Halloween Tommy. Oh, Tommy Doyle.
Yes. I always get those two. But yeah, so he plays Tommy Jarvis. Was Tommy Jarvis was Corey Feldman in 4.
Corey Feldman in 4. And then I can't remember the name of the actor in 5.
Yeah, it was just like a random.
Yeah.
Dude,
and then Tom Matthews in 6.
Which wasn't it? Who was in 5? I think Suicide from Return of the Living Dead was in 5, wasn't he?
Yeah, Suicide was the guy that took the axe to the paramedic's son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
dead too, I think.
Yeah.
The actor that played, I think, cancer, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, 6. So when I saw Tom Matthews, I was like, hey, that's that guy, you know? And I just loved it, man. And the one dude that's in the movie that has the RV, it always made me laugh.
Reggie.
Corky.
Reggie's the little boy, right? His brother.
Yes.
The little brother.
No, the Corky's the guy that has the RV, the white dude. You know who I'm talking about? The chick. Jason puts her face.
Oh, you're still okay. You're back on 6.
6.
I'm still talking about 5. Okay, yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, all right.
The guy with the RV. It was funny because my sister's name is Courtney, and we always called her Corky. That's like one of her nicknames. We used to call her Corky. So it's like, I remember a long time I was thinking, well, you're either going to be Corky from Friday the 13th 6, or you can be Corky Thatcher. So take your pick.
I was just thinking in my head, that's the name of the character with the Downs from. What is that? Life Goes On? Is that the name of the show? Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
oh my God.
But no, Corky. I remember the scene with his girlfriend. I think Jason takes her and smashes her face into the.
And her face is perfectly molded in the side of the. That's a badass scene though when the RV wrecks. Mm-hmm. And he busts out the door and he's just standing on top of the.
That's flaming. In the video for the music video. You know,
I've always wanted a poster of that. I thought that would be a really cool poster.
Mm-hmm. No, I loved it, man. The sheriff, he gets bent backwards. Dude, it's like the chick that's in the movie, the main.
Yeah.
Just awesome. It's just fun. You know, at that point, if you're really invested in the backstory of Jason Voorhees, you're kind of like missing the point. At this point, you want titties and blood, and just that's 80s, and it's just awesome. So that's, to me, I would go part 6, and then I probably 5, and then 4, and then probably 1, then 3, then 2, a quick one. I know we did a Friday the 13th one episode a long time ago, but it's like, I don't.
Which I would recommend people looking for that, because that was a really good episode.
But yeah, I don't. 7, I like A New Blood. I don't mind it. Jason Takes Manhattan is an absolute travesty, and 9 is.
See me, I'm gonna stay on the same wavelength that you started. When I put this little mini list together and I went with 5 films, my number 5 went 5, then 5B, and then 5C. And they are 5, Friday the 13th, Part 2, 5B, Friday the 13th, Part 3, and 5C, Friday the 13th, Part 4. Much like you are, 4, 5, 6 is kind of your sweet spot. My sweet spot is 2, 3, and 4. Those are my 3 favorite.
4 because you like 4 because you're a big fan of Crispin Glover's dance scene.
Oh my God, I do it every day. I wake up every morning and I do the scene. But but those are, and I think those are, so I think, and again, we did the list before, but for me it would go 2, 3, 4, and then 1. And I like 6, I like 5. They just don't make that cut for me. My sweet spot, my favorite era is 2, 3, and 4. Then 5 and 6 are good. And then in my opinion, everything after 6 until the remake is garbage. But I like the remake. And I know you agree. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
I enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't like about it was the tunnel thing underground. We have to explain how it is that he ends up. It's like, well, still doesn't explain it, because Camp Crystal Lake is pretty big, and somebody's way over here and they're a mile away. Like, are you saying that he can run a mile in a split second and get, it's just, but no,
I think they overthought it a little bit. I'll agree with you there, but putting that aside, it's an enjoyable movie, especially when you consider what came before that for quite a few movies was shit.
I'm actually going to put up a poll about Part 4. What dance scene is better, Crispin Glover or Part 5, the chick?
The robot thing that she did. Yeah, man. Friday the 13th, man. It's the movie of the worst dances ever.
It's like 5 minutes long. It just keeps going and going. I just watched it not too long ago with
like one of the worst songs ever. What in the hell are you listening to?
She's just up there by herself doing that. That's what I do every morning. Good. It gets me like loose and lit.
Yeah, you do that while I'm doing the Crispin Glover dance, and then that's how we get our days motivated, man. And then we do it on these Zoom calls. We call each other in the morning. You do your robot thing. I do the Crispin Glover thing, and we start our day. And our wives look at us like we're losing our minds.
Did you see Part 3 with us? I know it was.
I did not go with you guys.
Okay, Lonnie was there.
I wanted to. I don't know what came up. I mean, I had seen 3 in the theaters when it first opened as a kid. Yeah,
Yeah, it was. They were playing it somewhere on the southwest side of Cleveland.
Yeah,
a really cool theater, and it was cheap. I think it was like $5 a person, $7, but they were playing the 3D Part 3 3D, and that was one of the greatest things I've ever seen, where a bunch of the Cleveland metal guys were in there too. Like some of the metal bands at Cleveland, they were sitting like back behind us. I want to say like Ringworm was there.
Oh, really?
I don't know any of those guys, but I remember they were sitting there. It just like, you recognize them. Um, but there was a chick in there talking on her phone. And it was like, these dudes just were not having it. I mean,
Good.
talking like this, like the movie's on. She's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And these dudes would just turn over. Shut the fuck up! Like, and it got and they went and they kicked her out. The
Good.
management came and she was like, "Oh, I'll get off my phone," and they were like, "No, you're out of here." And everybody was clapping. Yeah, get the fuck out.
The hell is wrong with what the
And
hell is wrong with people?
if I remember right, she got kicked out, and her boyfriend was just kind of sitting there, kind of just like, and then just got up by himself and then just walked out quietly.
No, listen, there would have been
and like, I'm watching Friday the 13th, so
there would have been a breakup that night because her ass would have been sitting in the lobby waiting for me because I'm sorry, it's your dumb ass that couldn't get off the phone, not me. Well, first of all, if I was the boyfriend, that never would have happened because immediately when that phone rang and she even looked like she was thinking about answering it, I would have leaned over and said, if you answer that damn phone, you better be answering for an Uber because I'm not taking you home.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Well, I'm going to continue it here. So I'm going to go with one that sort of came up in the remakes. Well, it came up in the discussion of remakes being better than the original. Not that it's not a remake, even though it has a remake.
What doesn't anymore?
Dawn of the Dead. Which, if you really take the first three, Night, Dawn, Day, as the trilogy, then this would be the sequel,
to Night of the Living Dead. Yeah.
So, to me, it's far superior than Night. It's just a better movie in every way. Not necessarily because of I mean, just for me, like, I get that one is groundbreaking. I think that it gets a little ridiculous nowadays. I understand all of the kind of social commentary and the political implications of it, but I think the reason why that made it so strong was because Romero and those people didn't set out to purposely do that. They just created it.
Are you talking about Night right now, or
Night? Yeah. 1960.
Because Romero always said with Day that it was a commentary on commercialism in society at that time, which was
Dawn.
70 Dawn, right, which was 78.
Yeah.
So I mean, with that one, he did set out to try to make a statement.
The first one,
whether he was successful or not, that's up to each individual interpretation.
I would say that maybe not so much. It maybe then, but definitely now. Absolutely, it definitely has some. But to me, the hype surrounding one, especially within like the past 10, 15 years, and I can't stand when they're just like, oh, he chose the lead character. I don't know the actor's name. Dwayne Jones. And they were making a big deal out of it. Then when Romero was like, he was the best actor I knew.
Yeah.
That is more impactful to me because he wasn't thinking about that. He was thinking, this guy's my friend and he's the best actor I know.
Yeah.
That much more important. And that's why it made, to me, that's why it means, because you can, to me, if you're the guy that's out there like shouting from the rooftops that you're doing all this stuff, then you're a phony. And he wasn't doing that with the first one.
No,
They
no.
just did it, and just because of the time, the era that they lived in, maybe through what they created, some of that stuff came out, and people can see, parallels between, with Vietnam going on at the time, all kinds of, I've heard all kinds of things, people, but with Dawn, it was the consumerism, type deal. But the thing that got me was seeing the video, the box for it at the store when I was a kid, had Roger.
The three faces of,
Yeah.
no.
And then on the top, it was either on the top or the back at the top, but it was Roger Ebert saying a savagely satanic view of America or something. And I was like, mine, I got to see what this is. And I understand a little bit. I think, he can be, or he could be, pretty pretentious at times. But the movie to me was just perfect. Perfect story.
It's one of those films, when you're a kid growing up in the era of the video store and VHS tapes, and when I say growing up in that, I mean you're a kid when all of that is happening. It's just starting. You have that. There's that holy grail of movies that maybe you read about in the monster magazines or in Fangoria. There's that holy grail of movies. Dawn of the Dead is one of them. For me, my group of friends and whatnot, it was Dawn of the Dead and Phantasm and I Spit on Your Grave and I could go on, but Maniac. There were these movies that you only saw pictures of in very certain magazines. You saw the movie poster in the magazines and they just looked like, oh my God, and Dawn of the Dead was definitely one of them, and it had that whole, no rating, no one under 17 can see this film, So for me, Dawn of the Dead holds, well, as it does for most horror fans, especially those who have been horror fans since they were kids and grew up in that era. It holds a special place. It is one of those holy grail movies. But, and this about me, we've talked about this before, but I still like Night of the Living Dead better. It's my favorite of that trilogy. And I'm going to keep it to the trilogy and not even discuss the sequels that came out after Day of the Dead. I don't count those. I like to pretend they don't even exist.
Well, it's like I said in the other episode with Lonnie, remakes better than the original. I always choose 90. That remake is better than the original for a lot of reasons. I won't get back into it. But everything else that Romero did, God, dude, Land of the Dead, we saw in the theater.
So me too.
It was just.
I tried to go see Day of the Dead in the theater, but they wouldn't let me in. I went with my mom and my uncle and my aunt when Day of the Dead opened. But like Dawn of the Dead, no one under 17 was admitted, even with a parent or an aunt and uncle. They would not let us in. Wow. My aunt and uncle ended up going to see it. And I forget what my mom and I went to go see. I want to say my mom and I went to see Return of the Living Dead, because I think they were both playing at the same time. I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong. But I remember going to see Return of the Living Dead at the very same theater. But that's neither here nor there. My mom and I had to go see something else. My aunt and uncle went to see Day of the Dead, but
I think the only
but I tried. I sure tried.
the only thing good about Land to me is so my uncle, who recently passed away, he was deaf, and he's kind of lived a rough life, kind of a rough dude. He was in prison,
Mhm.
but he really was a great guy, just hilarious. And we went with a group of friends to go see Land of the Dead, and he was doing helping, Katie and I in the house, or so, I can't remember. And I said, "Hey, we're going to go see a horror movie. You want to go?" And he's completely deaf, but he was great at lip reading. And he said, "Oh yeah, 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 I love horror movies. Love horror movies. I'll go with you." And so we were like, okay. So we went, we saw it. Um, I told him, I was like, he didn't want the closed caption on the screen. He was like, screw it. He can read lips, and had a great time. And then we dropped him off. The next time I saw him, like a couple weeks later, I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he just went, "Uh-uh." And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" He was like, "That movie, never again, never again." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And that, so he was a zombie movie. He's deaf, so he
Yeah.
can't hear anything. And he said he couldn't sleep at night because, like, every time something, like the wind would blow a sheet or something, he would freak out and think that they were coming in. And he kept going, "They thought they were eating me. Like I couldn't sleep."
That's great.
So every time, like, when I did see him after, I'd be like, "Hey, you want to go see a zombie movie?" And he'd be like,
That's
awesome.
great.
Knowing how tough this guy was, and that we took take him to see a zombie flick, and he was like, he said literally for like a couple days, he was just like sitting up all night. He couldn't go to sleep. He kept having nightmares. It's like, I'm like, I had
Oh
nightmares about
shit.
the movie, but because it was so terrible. But
I'm trying to think of redeeming qualities for that movie, and
none.
the only thing I can really come up with is Asia Argento, who's easy on the eyes. So I mean, at least you got to look at her for an hour and a half.
John Leguizamo as,
But
what was his name? Cholo.
I don't know. Like, I fucking care. But I will tell you, there is one redeeming thing about that movie. Two redeeming things actually. It's not Diary of the Dead.
Dude. Okay, so I drove to Toronto.
And what's the other one? Because it's,
Survival.
yeah, and it's not Survival. So those are the two redeeming qualities. At least it's not those two movies,
So
which are, oh my god.
I drove to Toronto. My buddy, my one of my best friends, Rob, he lived in Toronto at the time. So he said, "Come on up. They're playing Diary at the local theater." It was downtown Toronto. It's this huge
I
theater.
remember you doing that.
And I
I
remember one of the newer Star Treks was coming out. The ones with Chris Pine.
Yeah.
And when you walk, it was actually the reboot. Okay, so it was before that came out. I remember when you walked into this theater, they had a full size, like, Klingon bird of prey hanging from the ceiling. I was just like it was huge, dude. You pay for your ticket, you go up these escalators. It was massive, and
They serve beer
I
at
think,
their
yeah,
movie theaters.
I think they did, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, they do.
and we went in, and it must have been the premiere, because there were a bunch of journalists and stuff there. None of the cast and crew. It was
Yeah.
kind of like, dude, Rob and I were just disgusted It was so bad. And I didn't say anything, but I remember Rob in the middle of it because people just were like sitting there, you know, on their, oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. Romero is such a genius. And Rob just turns around and super loud. He just said, are you fucking kidding me? This is awful. How, dude, he was like so pissed. I was like, this is such crap. Guy sitting next to me with his laptop, you know, writing as like taking notes as he's watching. And I was like, if you even write something positive about this and put in there that Romero's a genius, like I will literally, I don't care if I get kicked out of Canada forever. Okay. Like, like it was the shittiest movie I've ever seen. Then when I saw Survival, there was a scene, the only thing I remember about it, apparently if you live in an island off the coast of Massachusetts, they all speak Irish or have an Irish accent.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's not like I'll speak Gaelic, but they all have Irish accents. And the other thing is, there was a scene where somebody threw a grenade at a building and it blew up. And then, like, the building, like, part of it fell. And there were guys standing in the building and they had like black soot on their faces, like a cartoon. And it was like, wah, wah, or something. And I was like, you know what, man, this dude's lost his marbles. Like, this is just,
Well, you know, he got so bitter, you know, because they're throwing all this money at this Walking Dead TV show and zombies are huge and I can't get a budget. I can't get anybody to give me money to make and I made the Dead trilogy and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, they did give you money. They gave you money and you made Land of the Dead. Why would they give you any more? You know, they gave you money and this is what you did with it.
mm-hmm.
You know,
Awful.
I mean, if you hire somebody to paint your house and you come home and your house is hot pink with purple trim, well, when you go to repaint your house again, and that guy's standing there and saying, well, you're not going to give me money to paint your, and like, well, no, I gave you money and look what you did.
Yeah.
Why would I give you more?
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm sorry, George. Listen, the guy made the definitive zombie films. They still are.
Mm-hmm.
He invented a genre. Okay? You cannot take that away from him. That is his forever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's great. Listen, man, that's more than most people can say. But when they gave you an opportunity to kind of bank on the zombie resurgence,
Mm-hmm.
what did you do?
Yeah, it was just corny.
You gave us Big Daddy and zombies who were learning how to use tools and were talking, and they just wanted a place of their own. Don't kill them. They just want a place of their own.
That's whenever.
Why would anybody give you another chance?
So it's like you're alive, you die, so you're a zombie. But then it's like the natural progression of what he was doing was they're gonna become back, like turn back into human again. You know what I mean? Because or
learn how to be human. I mean, he kind of touched on it a little bit in Day with Bob, I think.
It's like that he should have just left well enough alone.
Well, exactly.
Who knows? Maybe it was like a one-off, you know. To me, I even thought it was corny at the end when he was like, you know, stupid. But even, you know, with Land, when Big Daddy told like the one zombie, you know, he's like, "Rrr," and then the zombie comes up and cuts a hole in the fence or whatever, and the body swings by, and he's like, "Oh." Apparently, zombies can get frightened and startled.
Oh, yeah. Well, and didn't he get sad when he saw how they were treating
Mm-hmm.
the zombies? He got all emotional. So now zombies can feel emotion now. They can be sad and scared, and then does that mean if you put on their favorite song, they're gonna start dancing a little zombie jig? I mean, come on, man.
They just
That could have been,
just
the premise was there. That could have been good.
Mm-hmm.
It really could have. He had the money. I believe there was a studio behind it.
Mm-hmm.
This could have been his ticket to, get back out there. That's what he did. It boggles the mind how the mighty fall.
Well, what is your number 3?
I am going to go with, get a little more contemporary here. I'm going to go with the film called Ouija, Origin of Evil. Have you seen it?
I've never even heard of it.
It's good. It's scary. The acting is off the charts. Great story. It's a prequel, even though it's a sequel. It is a prequel to a film called Ouija, which is shit. It's garbage. An hour and a half of my life I'll never get back. On my deathbed, when I think of all the time I've wasted in my life, I will think of that hour and a half I spent watching Ouija. It's awful. But the prequel is fantastic. Fantastic. Scary. It even makes you a little sad at the end when you think to yourself, this really good movie is supposed to lead into that complete piece of shit that came out 2 years ago. I mean, but I would really recommend seeing Ouija, Origin of Evil. It's really good.
Written down.
Really good.
I'll be honest with you, I've never even heard of those movies.
Well, they're newer, and when I say newer, I think that they both have come out within the last, maybe 12 years now, 10, 12 years. But it's really good. It's spooky. Kids, spooky, creepy, possessed kids. They're always good for creeping you out. And this one definitely has one. So I'd totally recommend it to you to see, man. And anybody who may watch this who hasn't seen it, make sure if you sit down with the movie called Ouija, it's got, Origin of Evil after it. If it doesn't have that, don't waste your time, because the first one is shit. Cannot stress that enough.
Man, you get a couple contemporaries with Purge, Ouija.
I think we spend so much time. I think we spend so much time, and in the future we'll probably spend much more time talking about films that maybe we grew up on, that we still hold near and dear, still our favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I think every once in a while it's okay to maybe shine a spotlight a little bit on some contemporary films that have come out in the last 5, 10, 12 years that are actually good. They're out there. Mm-hmm. You just gotta look for them. You gotta find them, but they're there. You can get out of the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and some of the 90s. You can move into the 21st century and find good horror films. They're out there. You just got to look for them.
I think that's the difference between the older stuff. Is it was like they were everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to newer stuff, there's so much garbage that it's just hard to, it's really like, I enjoyed The Void a lot.
Mm-hmm. Which I haven't seen yet. I have to change that soon. Hopefully with you. Get together and watch it with you after we both get our second shot.
Mine's Monday.
Mine is May 7th. So a little bit after you.
oh, excuse me. But yeah, the Void is good. There's been some here and there that
Now I know there are some contemporary films that I've seen that you totally disagree with me, and that's okay. I
mm,
mean, listen, there's no law says we have to like the same things,
I
but
think my problem is with a lot of it, there's too much CGI.
yeah.
And for me, that takes me out of it because it kind of destroys the story. Because when it gets that kind of corny, when it looks like a video game, and that's why the Void is so good because
Mm.
it's like practical effects and um
I'm going to tell you right now what you need to see, and I texted you right after I watched it. It's on Shutter, which I know you have. It's a Shutter original,
mhm,
and it came out kind of right in the middle of the COVID shutdowns and the quarantines, which made this movie even more. And it's called The Host,
yeah,
and it's barely an hour. I mean, it's literally no time, and it was so good,
I'm writing it
so
down.
so scary. Watch that sucker with the lights off by yourself, like I did, and I'm telling you, you're going to be looking over your shoulder. You're going to hear a noise when that sucker's over, and you're going to think, "Oh shit, what's coming?" So well done, so good. I really want you to see it. But for me, we'll get back to the list in a second. I I I I I feel as a fan of horror, grew up on it. I kind of feel it's my duty to support the genre in a way that I'll see the new stuff, knowing full well probably 70% of it I'm not going to like. It's not going to do anything for me, but I want to watch them. And I'm not saying to go to the theater to see every one of them, but I want to watch them because I understand you got to support these films because the good ones that are going to get made won't get made if the genre doesn't keep getting the support it needs to be a viable product, to make money. And sometimes you gotta watch the shit to support the genre, to make sure the filmmakers with the good ideas who are going to make a good movie get the opportunity to make those movies.
See, for me, it's like, and I agree with that, like to an extent. I just think a lot of what gets made, it's kind of like when, you know, our brother Justin, we go down the YouTube rabbit hole trying to find new stoner or doom bands, and
I do the same.
you
A
do
lot,
this,
and it's the same thing. A lot of you got to sift through a lot of shit
and
to find some
never,
gems.
the thing is, it never used to be like that because the field wasn't as big. It was narrower, and it was much stronger. Now it's like you have to sift through, whether you're on YouTube or Bandcamp, hours of just listening and listening. Everything is so generic and just stupid and cliched until you get to that one album where you're like, okay, wow, this is really good.
Yeah,
I feel like in a lot of ways, horror is even worse. And I will blame 100% Wes Craven and Scream because as soon as that shit hit, it just went down.
yeah.
And everything became, you got to have a bunch of these, like, all the people that were in it, like everybody looked too perfect, and they're all on the cover,
Mhm.
and
Well, you know how you save yourself some time? Use me as like I use you for music. See, I let you go through those hours of shit to find something good because then I know you'll tell me, hey, check this out. It's really good. So you just saved me an
mm,
hour of listening to shit. Okay.
Mhm.
and you send me the good stuff, and I can go right to that. Use me for horror movies in the same way. Let me go through all the garbage to find the gems, and then I'll tell you, hey, you got to see this. This is really good. Don't ask me how much crap I had to watch before I got to this one, but this is the good one. You see, that's how we help each other out in this brotherhood, man.
No, there's some other ones. And the thing is, I know that there's films that I've seen that I'm like, yeah, that's not bad, you know. I just can't remember the names of them. Like there was The Void obviously stood out because I thought it was such a strong flick. And I did like Starry Eyes. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good story. Um, Lonnie played one for me. I can't remember the name of it. I think it was called. Oh, I can't remember. I gotta ask him. This thing was great. And it was about this guy that I thought like lost his job or something, and he had a friend or he met up with people at a bar that were rich, and these people,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about? Is it called?
and I don't remember the name, but I've seen it. It's fun.
It's not Would You Rather, is it? No.
No, no, I've seen Would You Rather. Don't bother with that.
Okay, yeah, no. This one, Lonnie's gonna kill me because I thought it was great, man. It was like
No, it's good. I know exactly what you're talking about.
we'll
It's
give
good.
you, you know, so much money to do this, or we'll give you,
Yeah.
but they just keep getting like more and more ridiculous and
Yeah.
violent, and the guy's just like, no.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Who's next? You are.
Yeah.
I did Origin of Evil, Ouija. See that one. Don't see the Ouija.
So I'm gonna go my 3-2. My 2 is gonna be 2A and 2B. Okay. These are both horror sci-fi um that I think are better than the original. Um One is, a lot of people are probably, they're not both horror sci-fi. One's, the reason I'm including both is because to me the part one of one was more like a slasher flick. It was just meaner, but I think part two is better. And then the other one, the first one, it is sci-fi horror, and the second one could be sci-fi horror, but it's a little more of an action flick. And that's uh Aliens and Terminator 2.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Terminator 2, not a horror flick. I've always
You know,
like
most people
what's
would agree with you
mhm.
on that. I'm like I'm one of the, I think, again, in the vast minority who, although I love Aliens, I
Mhm.
love Terminator 2, I think the originals are better.
I
I liked Arnold as the bad guy. I thought he made an awesome,
well, he's like,
bad guy.
yeah, and that doesn't surprise me because you're such a Michael Myers fan, and that's pretty
Yeah.
much what he was.
Yeah, pretty much.
In Terminator was, that's why I think it was more like a slasher flick. It wasn't. That's not why they created it. Probably, but you get my point.
No, but it was.
Yeah,
Let's be honest. I mean, it followed a lot of the same, slasher tropes.
it was very dark. It was, I don't know, man. I love the first one. T2, not a horror movie at all,
No.
obviously, but for some reason I just had to include it. But that to me is like James Cameron. That's like pinnacle James Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
Just amazing. The special
Pre Avatar James Cameron,
yeah.
pre Titanic James Cameron.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
special effects are great. They
Mhm.
still stand up, everything. But Aliens also
James Cameron.
I think that Alien holds up perfectly. I think it's like a 9 out of 10. It could even be a 10 out of 10. But it really is like a universal horror type film to me.
Mm-hmm. It's a monster movie.
Mhm.
It's a monster movie in space.
and it's just the cast is phenomenal. It's unbelievable. Part two, though, that was the first one I saw when I was a kid, and I fell in love with it instantly. Everything about it to me. The extended cut that came out is even better.
Yeah.
It has some like really cool stuff that explains like what, how it was basically Newt's parents that went out and found the chip, and her dad had that thing stuck to his face. Um, and that there's a couple other scenes in there too that they threw in, um, especially with a couple machine gun sentries that they put out in the hallways and stuff. But they show Ripley's daughter. There's a scene where Carter Burke, played by Paul Reiser,
Yeah.
the only thing I like him in. um, but he does a great job. But one of the extended scenes that he tells her that, yeah, your daughter passed away, and then she sees a picture of her daughter and some old woman. It's just so good, man. The cast is amazing. Jeanette Goldstein.
I agree. I agree with everything you say, but I think the reason why I prefer the first film is because, just to me, the first film is more of a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
The second film, to me, is more of an action film. I still love it. I think it's great, but I prefer the straight, just slow burn horror film of Alien than the shoot 'em up action explosions whatnot of Aliens.
Aliens to me is almost like Night of the Living Dead in space on a different planet, because if you think about it, they're trying to like barricade themselves in at one point,
exactly,
trying to keep from but special effects are unbelievable. The cast is awesome. I was God, man, I was so excited that apparently they wanted to give Neil Blomkamp, who did some of my favorite movies, District 9, and I also liked Elysium. Wasn't a big fan of Chappie. That was kind of but plus he did, God, was it called Oat Studios or something? You can watch his stuff online, and they're like little shorts that he did, and they're just fucking awesome, dude. They're so good. And he was supposed to do the new Alien, which was
I've read stuff. They've actually put online sketches and whatnot,
like storyboards, because it was
ideas
Ripley. It was Ellen Ripley. Alien 3 never happened. It was 1, 2, and then they wake up, and it was Ripley. I think Michael Biehn whatever, was back as Hicks and Corporal Hicks, and I don't know if Newt was in it or not, but I know it was those two, and Hicks, his face was all kind of melted or whatever, it, like, he had it going, man. He had everything written, and then Ridley Scott was like, no, I'm going to do my films. And Prometheus came out, and it was okay. I mean, I like it, but it doesn't really feel like an Alien flick. An Alien Covenant, who I thought was it's just fucking stupid. I really wasn't into it. I thought Prometheus was better, but all the other ones, Alien 3 to me was just a little too dreary, not action enough. It was just not.
I agree.
But that's
my phone has told me that I have 20% left.
Well,
So,
hit it. Let's go through your number 2.
well, you know what, dude? I'm just gonna go straight to my top one because
What's your 2? Then go to 1.
my 2 was Blade 2.
Oh,
And
okay.
even though it's not really a horror film, I think anytime you're dealing with vampires, you have a little bit of horror in there. And I like Blade 1, but I just think Blade 2 is just a far superior film.
It is.
You know, just and those new vampires that they were going after were just creepy as hell. The way the whole bottom of their fucking face came open and up, you know. But my number 1 is a film you and I have talked about quite a bit, and it is just dirty and vile, and you gotta take a shower after you see it. I think.
Let's see, because my number 1 might be the same.
I just remember the first time I saw it as a kid, I couldn't go to sleep. I had to go walk around outside. It was just like, oh my God. And Amityville 2, The Possession.
Yeah, that's my number 1.
That's number 1. I mean, everything about. I just watched it again for the first time in quite a few years, a couple of months ago, and damn, does it hold up.
Oh,
even the special effects at the end, which are cheesy as shit, let's be honest.
the body.
Yeah. Even
Just
even with
away.
that.
He just passed.
What's that?
Ronald
DeFeo just passed away. Yeah. Good riddance.
Yeah.
But
no, man,
it's oh my God. I'm telling you, man, there's no scarier scene than when he's killing his whole family and his sister, who he had been banging up to that point. You know,
yeah, wouldn't get made today.
Yeah, when she runs around that corner and she runs into him, and he's holding that gun, and he's got that creepy smile on his distorted face, and the lightning crashes and it flashes on his face. Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It's so creepy and scary. Everything about that movie is just, oh God, I love it.
The sequence of him going into the basement, and then it follows him upstairs, and you don't see it. That's the thing about.
But it hits him on the bed, and his body starts to suck because it's coming. Oh God, damn it! Oh,
who was it? God, the chick, the sister was Diane Franklin, yeah.
She's gorgeous. Oh my God, she's gorgeous.
There's her tits in it. Even when I was a teenager watching it, I was like, is it even of age? She had to be 18 at least, but I was just like.
Well, she was in another movie called The Last American Virgin. And she was sans top in that one as well. You can enjoy it in that film. Yeah. Because it's a teen romp, it's crazy, sexy, so you can see it in that film and be like, oh yeah, all right, In Amityville 2, you're like, no, because
if you see that scene in Amityville 2 and it turns you on, like, call your psychiatrist.
Yeah, see a priest, call your psychiatrist. There's something wrong with
sitting there watching it, and I'm just like, dude, like, this is.
If you remember the scene, the brothers like, let's pretend that I'm a famous photographer, and you're my model. I think you should take your shirt off. And she does, and then she's doing the poses, and I'm like, oh my God. Even as a kid, when you're that age, any boobies are good boobies. Even as a kid, I was like,
I'm saying, I was like,
this isn't right at all.
And it just adds to like just how grimy that fucking movie is
Mm-hmm.
and how scary it is. The first one is great.
Oh yeah, it's
James
a classic.
Corden, Margot Kidder. I mean, it's great cast,
Mm-hmm.
but Burt Young is just such a piece of shit.
He's such an asshole.
Just an asshole. And that movie just hits and it hits hard. Better poster art to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's amazing that I always thought that I was the only one that thought that two was better than the first. And then after
You met
talking,
me.
meeting new people like you years ago, and I think, all my other friends, Darren, Justin, like everybody's like, oh yeah, dude, two is, and even in the Necrophagia, that band, they did a video where I watched, there was an interview with the band and they were talking about some of their favorite horror movies. And and they say Amityville 2. And the one guy, and they were like, why? And the guy's like, because it's just fucking scarier.
It is.
And it is. It's like you have this grimy, just like
It's scarier because, well, I mean, for many reasons, but one of the reasons are, listen, I don't know what you believe about about that house,
mm-hmm,
what you believe about what actually happened to the Lutzes.
mm-hmm,
You know, that's open for interpretation. You know, what you cannot deny is that a year before that, a man killed his family, his entire family, with a hunting rifle. You cannot deny that.
yeah.
It happened.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did he hear voices? Was he possessed? Did the house? Again, that's open to interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
But what you cannot deny is that happened. And Amityville 2, although they play up it's called the possession, for Christ's sake. It plays up the voices in the house made him do it, this, that. It played that part of it up.
Mm-hmm.
So did that happen? I don't know. I wasn't there. But again, what you cannot deny is, for whatever reason, this guy murdered his entire freaking family. And that to me is scarier because, yeah, that happened.
It's scary. Even,
you know,
that part of it is true, even if the rest of the stuff is just Hollywood, just create a story.
Well, listen, we can do another episode on
mm-hmm,
if we believe all that stuff or not. I'd like to do an episode on that. I fall in the middle. I believe something happened to the Lutzes in that house.
mm-hmm.
What happened? I don't know. Even the Lutzes said that the movie played up a lot more than what really happened.
Yeah.
But
so that's
do I believe something happened to them? Yeah, I do. What? I don't know. I wasn't there.
Or
do I believe? What's that?
Even if that stuff didn't happen in part 2, I mean, obviously the murders did,
mm-hmm,
but even if everything didn't, it's still, you never think that. When I watch Amityville, I always think to myself that with the Lutzes, that book came out where it was basically just all a hoax, that they found out that they lived in a house where a family was murdered and they didn't want to live there, but they couldn't get out of it. So what they did was make up this elaborate story,
mm-hmm,
whatever. But part 2, the reason why it's better is because there is a truth to it.
mm-hmm.
They did murder everybody in the house, and it's like,
mm-hmm,
the rest of it is probably, who knows, the rest of it could be completely made up, but it doesn't matter because it's still like insanely frightening.
You could make a movie about the DeFeos and leave all that shit out of it. Just make a straight suspenseful drama film about a young man who just decided, I'm going to kill my entire family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that would be scary in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Just a person doing that.
Yeah.
You add the other stuff to it, you know, and I know people, I know there's the, well, you know, his dad was this and he didn't like his dad and whatever. Okay, fine. Kill your dad. Kill your mom. She's laying right next to him. But what are your reasons for killing, you know, two preteens and you know, your teenage sister? I don't know, man. I think something was going on with that guy. Something was going on in that house more than just young man angst. I'm mad at the world and I'm going to kill people. You know, I think something more is going on there. Listen, they're all, every one of them are found laying on their stomachs. Okay. Nobody tried to run. They're all in the same. You mean to tell me it's a big house, but it's not big enough that a hunting rifle's going off on the floor under you and you don't hear it?
Yeah. Who knows, man?
I mean, there's things that you can't explain.
The only
Something was going on.
Yeah, and the only thing I can say now is he was dead, good riddance, but we still have the film. So
Yeah.
but yeah, with that, it's a nice ending to that because we both chose our number one.
I had a feeling it might go that way just based on discussions we've had. I mean,
Yeah.
we've had many discussions. You know, we could do a whole episode on just that movie. And I'd like to I tell you what I'd like to do. I'd like to do an episode where we watch along with the movie. You know, the movie's going and you and I are sitting on the same couch, you know, looking at the camera and just kind of giving our running commentary on you know, it's in my top 10, you know, has been for years and always will be.
Well, let's reconvene. I would say let's do a music one next time.
Yeah.
I got a couple music ones coming up with some buddies, Jason, Nick, and Pat. We're doing kind of obscure albums we think people should listen to. This episode isn't going to be like 9.5 hours like their last one was. We're choosing 3 and just kind of discussing those, going from there. I'm doing one with Arnie that is going to be I think best comeback albums. But I got to be honest with you, just with everything coming out, like with the new Monster Magnet coming up, I think I really want to do a Monster Magnet one.
Well, I've been taking copious notes on Air Supply, so I was hoping we were going to knock out that Air Supply episode, but we'll put that on the back burner. There's always time for Air Supply. No, I'm with you, man. I think the next time we do this, hopefully in the next week or two, we spend some time talking about the almighty Monster Magnet, one of your favorites, one of mine. So yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Let's do it. But yeah, I mean, again, thanks for anybody for, you know, checking the past episodes out, this one, future episodes, whatever. And
again, it's going to be on YouTube, so feel free to leave comments and questions. I mean, listen, if anybody watches this, you have a question or two, throw them on the comments. We'll look at them. We'll try to answer them. You know, maybe, hey, you're watching this and you've got your ideas on a few sequels that are better than the original. Throw them on there, man. We'd love to see it. So
sounds good. But thanks for.
Thank you, Kip.
Stay tuned for more. So
yep. Stay tuned, stay heavy, stay scared.
All right. Cheers.
Good night.